Hi, I'm back with episode 2 of With Love, Meghan. It opens and she's collecting blackberries from her garden. And she's wearing shoes. So this whole conceit about how she's just a California girl. No, of course she wears shoes when she's collecting blackberries because, you know, there are thorns on blackberry bushes unless you grow thornless blackberries, which is a very good idea to do, I recommend. But this episode is going to be famous for several things, and one of them is the fact that she cannot help but break the fourth wall continuously. It's like when she doesn't have her official guest there, she has to relate to the crew because she's completely unable to just talk to the audience, because she doesn't have any frame of reference for talking to those people on the other side of the camera. It's just crackers. So she starts out, first thing she makes is she's cracking eggs dressed in white cashmere. So it must be great. Number one, she's not buying clothes and looking at the label and thinking, dry clean only. Well, I'd best not then. You know, she's cracking eggs in white cashmere. She doesn't bother putting an apron on. We've seen aprons in other sections of other episodes. So, and she's got this jumper draped over her shoulders like she's a 1986 Sloane, which is ironically exactly what Diana, the Princess of Wales, was, I suppose. I mean, a little bit earlier than that. She got married in, 1981? She was 19, so... but it's so outdated and doesn't relate to any of the culture that she comes from at all. It's like, have you literally picked that up from books looking at women around the time of Diana and her class? Because I think so. This woman has no knife skills, okay? Every single thing that she's chopping, and she's constantly chopping, she can't chop. She got literally, my children came home from school and they did knife skills in their DT food classes, whatever they call it now, design and technology food. They learn knife skills. And yet this woman has none. She has a cooking show. She has no knife skills. She says she gets up and makes breakfast for everybody every morning. I don't believe you. 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 Number one, you're frequently on holiday. Or you're like sticking to your husband like glue when he goes off to do his things just so that you can get a little bit of extra face time. I don't believe you. And then, oh, guess what? Now I'm going to fry bacon in white cashmere. So just in case there wasn't an egg splash on it, I'm now going to get hot bacon grease on it, which won't come out no matter what I do afterwards. You know, the woman could not be more unrelatable, could not make it any clearer how little regard she has for ordinary people, because she can just fry bacon in white cashmere. Doesn't care. I don't care if I never wear this $4,000 sweater ever again. Now, Mindy arrives, and Mindy Kaling is famous from The Office. She was on The Office for about 8 years. And Mindy Kaling, as a famous person, warrants greeting. Now, Daniel, the makeup artist, didn't get a greeting. He was just suddenly there. And we all just carried on because he was suddenly there. But Mindy gets an actual greeting. And she starts with the sucking up immediately, which is, after all, her function as Meghan's guest. I'm going to quote some of the things that she says that are just so sucky up that, you know, like, this is a fake world with fake people, fake friends in a fake kitchen cooking fake food. Receiving your preserve in the post was one of the most glamorous moments of my life. Really? More glamorous than going to the Emmys or going to all of the various Hollywood parties that you've been to, or meeting famous Hollywood stuff? Really? getting a parcel from the postman was more glamorous than that. I don't believe you, Mindy Kaling. Then when Meghan has cooked some frittata, she gets out the flour sprinkles. Surprise. Mindy Kaling says, "What is this?" And Meghan says, "They're flour sprinkles." And Mindy Kaling says, "Are you Tinkerbell?" It's so irritating. These are grown-ups. These are grown women. She says, you know, do they taste nice? What's the deal with the flour? You putting them on everything. What's the deal? Meghan's like, no, they're just an accessory. An accessory to a felony, perhaps. So they are day drinking, and she says, "This is the earliest I've had alcohol for a long time." And Meghan replies, "Welcome to Montecito." Now, this, I believe, this is the one thing that rang true in this episode. The fact that in Montecito, the idle rich, they get up, they have nothing to do except drink a Bellini and muck about sprinkling flowers on shit. Then Meghan does another one of these things. Now, another thing that Meghan likes to do, she loves to make like a double entendre or an innuendo. And in this case, she says, you know, when I first did a balloon arch, I had to blow all these balloons manually. And it got quite tiresome on my cheeks. Really, Meghan? You're not famous for getting tired at blowing, but there we go. And she suggests that you could use different colours of balloons to make a balloon arch. Who is this for? This is a programme for the lifestyles of the idle rich. But the idle rich can afford to pay someone to do these manual domestic tasks. As Mindy Kaling said, it's my party planner that does this stuff. And Meghan says, well, I wouldn't want to do them out of a job, but here's all of the things that I would do to plan a party. And it's just like, this is just for control freaks, absolute control freaks who could afford to employ somebody but actually can't deal with letting go of any aspect of anything in their life. Complete control freaks. Or the idle rich who are blacklisted by every service provider in their area. That's the other demographic that this would work for. It's quite extraordinary. Then they have the bit where Mindy Kaling says, tell me about your look. And Mindy Kaling is like Indian in background, I believe. And, you know, she's bilingual and English is her second language. When people have English as their second language, is it okay to tease them about pronunciation? Would it be okay for someone to do that? You know, if you have a friend who has English as a second language, would you do that? I don't think you would. I don't think you would. I think you would be aware that somebody speaks English as a second language and would maybe cut that bit out if you'd actually teased them on camera. You'd have the decency to cut that out before you actually broadcast it globally. I think that's mean. I think it's mean, and I think that you're showing some unconscious bias, Meghan. I think so. I think that, you know, there's rude and then there's racist, and they're not the same. Meghan cannot lie straight in bed. She claims to have been a latchkey kid. No, you weren't, Meghan. We've seen lots of videos of you at home. You were looked after by Thomas Markle for 10 whole years. There was no Doria. Doria disappeared somewhere for 10 years. There were videos. There are like several different interviews. Excuse me, I've got an itchy nose. Several different interviews that she's given about the lifestyle that she had with her dad, which was, you know, the lifestyle of somebody whose family is doing pretty well as an Emmy-winning lighting director. I think he won 3 Emmys during his career. You know, he was a well-paid and sought-after Hollywood lighting director. She wasn't a latchkey kid growing up in poverty. It just, you know, she was eating out at some of the best restaurants in California like 3 times a week. And then comes the bombshell. It's so funny that you're calling me Meghan Markle when you know my name is Sussex. And she's terrifying. She's terrifying. This is the Meghan Markle that the Sussex Survivors Club will be having PTSD flashbacks from watching this. It's okay, right, so I've got a lot to say about this. I might even make a second video about it because I've seen a lot of hoo-ha floating around on the internet, and it's one of the reasons why I'm making these videos, because, you know, I just can't help but add my 2 pence. So if you're titled in the UK, you're the Duke of Grosvenor, say, you can actually sign your letters Grosvenor, with love, Grosvenor. You could do that even if your name is whatever else. Yeah, you can use your title as a surname. So princes and princesses of the blood, they don't actually have a surname listed on their birth certificate. Their surname is considered superfluous because you're only going to have one of them. You don't need to differentiate between the Prince Harrys because there's only one Prince Harry at a time. So when Prince Harry's father was the Prince of Wales, he could be called Harry Wales because Wales was being used as a surname because it was his father's title, and you know, that's perfectly acceptable. So you know, in the same way that the children of the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, as were, could be called George, Charlotte and Louis Cambridge. Now that their parents are the Prince and Princess of Wales, they are called George, Charlotte and Louis Wales. When they become the next generation, when William ascends to the throne, they will be Prince George, the Prince of Wales, the Princess Royal, Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis. So they don't need a surname in that case. So in terms of the surname that the royal family actually has, the Queen and Prince Philip adopted the surname Mountbatten-Windsor. So that's the surname that all the blood royals share. But Meghan Markle can't have that surname. So although she married Harry, whose surname, if you were going to adopt a like common people, so if he was stripped of all his titles, he would be Harry Mountbatten-Windsor. So that's still, if you like, a marker of his pedigree, because normal mortals don't have that surname. That surname is reserved for members of the bloodline of the royal family. And it's quite recent, you know, it goes back to the Second World War where they decided to adopt that surname. So the Queen adopted Windsor, and Prince Philip, who was Prince Philip of Greece, adopted Mountbatten because of the Earl of Mountbatten. So Mountbatten-Windsor. So I hate it when Meghan is right about something, but she is, if she was living in England, she would be entitled to call herself Meghan Sussex. It would be a little bit odd, especially since Prince Harry isn't calling himself Harry Sussex. Like, she has a title by virtue of being married to somebody that is titled. It's called a courtesy title. It's not a title that's hers by right. It's a different thing. So she could call herself Meghan Sussex. She can call her kids Prince Archie of Sussex, Princess Lilibet of Sussex. they'll always be known as Archie Markle and Lily Markle by normal Americans, because Americans don't do titles. And Americans don't recognise titles as surnames. So, this is why there's so much confusion, because why, in England or in the UK, we have like Debrette's, which is like a Bible of protocol and etiquette. And that's where you would check if you're ever, I need to write to the Duke of Grosvenor. How do I address an envelope? You check in Debrette's, it will tell you. I need a seating plan for this dinner party where I'm having the landed gentry round, and the Queen is going to be my guest of honour. Well, check into Debrette's. I'm sure it'll give you a full rundown of where everyone should sit and how everyone should introduce each other. It's good like that. So she is correct that she could call herself Meghan Sussex in the UK. In America, if she wants to change her name, she has to do it by, legal means, deed poll. You can't just adopt a new surname and just go by that. That's not how it works. And there was a blind item that she tried to cross through passport control in Seattle on her way back from the Invictus Games. And the name on the passport, which is Meghan Markle, didn't pass muster because she was claiming to be a different name. And the guy was like, "Are you this person on this passport, Meghan Markle, yes or no?" And she was really pissed off because she had to admit that she was in fact Meghan Markle. And she'll always be Meghan Markle. She'll go down in history as Meghan Markle. I mean, she'll go down in history. That's something. That's a big thing. That's a bigger thing than you have any justification for through talent or beauty or decorum or whatever. You'll go down in history, Meghan Markle, as Meghan Markle. So I'm glad we cleared that up. Mindy Kaling should never have been created. It's the most bad manners. Like, the whole thing about manners is they're meant to be about people with higher status should always make people who are of lower status feel more comfortable, because there's that imbalance of power and it makes people feel uncomfortable. So Meghan Markle, as the Duchess of Sussex, should be making Mindy Kaling feel at home in her kitchen, and never ever pull her up on her pronunciation of things or pull her up on getting her name wrong. It's vulgar, it's déclassé, it's rude. It's exactly what you would if you'd accepted the Queen's very kind offer of an equerry, or Lady Susan Hussey, or Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh, to come and help you learn the rules and how to behave. You would understand your massive social etiquette failure here, Meghan, but you never would accept any help because you know everything already. So that's why you continue to make these really ridiculous errors that made everyone think of you as some kind of bumbling American, And most Americans are not like you, You're giving Americans a bad name. The next thing I've written is bloody flowers everywhere. She's still sprinkling these bloody flowers. And then watching her do her shitty handwriting when she's doing like tags to put in the gift bags. No child is going to be able to read your shit handwriting with your curly curlies. I can't believe that she made a feature on how to do a children's party gift bag. No, you don't need to do that. You don't need this whole episode, the whole program so far, apart from beekeeping, which is fascinating and something that she absolutely doesn't do. I have learnt nothing. And then to top it all off, she goes to the fake party that she's having with Mindy Kaling, which is supposed to show her how to make a kids' party. And she ties back her wig for the first time. Like it's been hanging in the food like this. Enjoy this food. I'm dipping my wig in. And then she's attending the party and she's got her hair all tied back. You know, you could have done that the other way around. You could have had your hair tied back and then let it down for the party. That would have been appropriate, because you should have your hair tied back in the kitchen. Really? The other thing is just the constant outfit changes. Constantly, like you blink and she's wearing something else that's worth tens of thousands of dollars. And it's so good. Like, the continuity is terrible. Terrible. But in this episode, she's not barefoot, so we're not treated to views of that. So that's good. There's your episode 2 update. I hope you enjoyed it. I see that some people have watched some of my videos, and that's very pleasing. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.